Hi, I want to talk about how to use the Barry Harris harmonic method when playing a minor 7th chord. Let's just recap what I covered in the first lesson in this series, which was about the C major 6th diminished scale. The major 6th diminished scale is a name that Barry Harris gave to a major scale with one added note. So take the scale of C major, we put an extra note in between the 5th and the 6th. G is the 5th, A is the 6th, and in between them we put G sharp. We get this scale now, and we can harmonise that by alternating C major 6th chords with diminished 7th chords. I showed you how to play this in block chords, which is where you play the melody note at the top of the right hand, the same note doubled an octave lower with the left hand, and all the remaining notes of the chord in between. So we go C major 6th, diminished 7th, C major 6th, diminished 7th, and so on. Now, I also explained why that works, because if you take the notes of each of those diminished 7th chords, so let's look at the first one, and we put a G underneath at the bottom there, what we actually have there is a G7 with a flattened 9th, A flat being the flattened 9th. So the feeling that we're really getting is tonic to dominant, tonic to dominant. Now, let's look at that C major 6th chord. The notes are C, E, G, and A. Take the A from the top, put it at the bottom, and we get an A minor 7 chord. So the two chords, C major 6 and A minor 7, contain exactly the same notes. And it follows, therefore, that we could use that same technique when we're playing an A minor 7 chord. Now, why does it work over A minor 7? Well, we've already established that C major 6 contains the same notes as A minor 7, but what about the diminished chords? Why does that work? Well, let's look at that. Let's do, I'm putting A down at the bottom there, so you can think of this as an A minor 7 rather than C major 6. And then let's look at this chord, diminished 7th. If I put E down in the bass, I've actually got an E7, that's the dominant 7th chord of A minor, with a flattened 9th, which is the F. So, in other words, the feeling that we're getting is like alternating, once again, tonic to dominant. So we're making A minor the tonic, and then we're playing, alternating that with its dominant, which is E7. Now, in classical harmony, we would think of those dominant chords as what we call secondary dominants. They're borrowed from another key. And I've done a couple of videos already about this. I'll put links to that in the description below. So at the beginning, I was playing the first 4 bars of Fly Me to the Moon. And the chord progression there is 1 bar of A minor 7 going to 1 bar of D minor 7, 1 bar of G7 going to C major. And that is a classic 6-2-5-1 chord progression. So the way I played it was playing the block chords with the right hand, but instead of doubling the top note with the left hand, I was just simply playing down at the bottom a walking bass. So the melody goes. So let's look how we did that. A minor 7, which, remember, you can think of it as a C major 6 chord, diminished 7th chord, which is kind of functioning as the dominant seventh of A minor 7. Put the E there. A minor 7 or C major 6, again, just in a different position. However, let's look at what I did as I approached D minor 7. I played this chord. Now, we're going back to the subject of what we call in classical harmony secondary dominance again here. We know that we can always approach a major or a minor chord from its dominant seventh. And in classical harmony, as I said, we would call that a secondary dominant seventh chord. Now, we're going from A minor 7 to D minor 7. And it follows, therefore, that you can approach that with the dominant seventh in the key of D minor, which is A7. Now, I'd played a diminished seventh chord there. Let's put A down in the bass there. And we've actually got the notes of an A7 chord, a dominant seventh with a flat ninth, the B flat. So that leads you perfectly to D minor 7. Now, on the D minor 7 chord, I played this. So let's look at what I'm doing there. Well, first of all, let's look at the D minor 7 chord. Now we're going to do the reverse of what I did at the beginning, explaining that C6 and A minor 7 contain the same note. This time I'm going to take the bottom note D, put it at the top, and we get F major 6. So F major 6 and D minor 7 contain the same notes. So you can use an F major 6 diminished scale. So let's just go through that. So F6, F major 6, diminished 7th, F major 6, diminished 7th, F major 6. Now remember, we have this added note in between the 5th and 6th notes of the scale. So C sharp this time, back to F major 6 or D minor 7, diminished 7th, F major 6 or D minor 7. So that works. And let's look through it again. So diminished 7th there. That's the notes of an F major 6 chord or D minor 7 chord. Now, once again, I am in the next bar, I'm going on to G7. So on beat 4 of that bar, I'm going to approach the G7 with its dominant 7th, which is, of course, D7. Now, I didn't actually play D7, I played a diminished 7th again. But if we play that chord and put D in the bass, we have a D dominant 7th chord with A flat and 9th, E flat. So again, it leads perfectly to the G7. I'm going to talk about what to do on the dominant 7th chord in another video because there are one or two different options there. I hope you found that useful. If you did and you haven't done so far, can you please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. See you in the next video.